Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First order on every county board meeting is public comment. Anyone who is present or online may share thoughts with the county board. If you are present, please come to the podium, state your first name, last name, and your address. There is a 2-minute time limit, and the county board cannot respond to questions. We're here to listen. Good morning.
Good morning. Emily Volkman, 1402 Highland Drive in Winona.
Go ahead, please.
I am here just to introduce myself. I am your new Health and Human Services supervisor overseeing our over 65 areas in public health. So I wanted me to have a face that goes with my name as we continue to move forward and work together in the coming years.
Wonderful. Welcome.
And I understand, even though we're not supposed to interact, I understand that you have worked for us in the past.
I have.
Welcome back.
Thank you,
And
Chris.
delighted to have the position filled and for you to join the staff.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much.
Introducing yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else present care to address the board or online? Good morning.
I'm Linda Johnson, 32530 Bobcat Road. When you grow up, you are older, but those memories you have as a kid last forever. What are some memories you had as a kid? Hopefully your memories are good ones. Unfortunately, all kids do not have good memories. But the good news is you have the opportunity to help more Winona County kids have good memories. As a 4-H volunteer, club leader, and parent for more than 20 years in the Houston County 4-H program, I can say 4-H can and does change the lives of youth. 4-H inspires youth to do more, to be their best, and help their communities. My daughter Leah was in 4-H and I asked her, how was 4-H important to you? She said, 4-H gave me insight into the future that I wanted to have. I started dairy judging in 4-H, something I couldn't have done anywhere else, and it was this hands-on experience in 4-H that instilled the love of the dairy industry and judging cattle that guided my career life choice. 4-H is a diverse program that seeks to engage all youth with hands-on learning, confidence building, leadership skills, and team building, just to name a few. The Winona County 4-H is doing great things for our youth. In 2020 and 2021, with one staff member, 4-H impacted 410 youth. In 2023-24, with 1.5 staff, 675 youth had new learning opportunities. That's an increase of 64%. Youth participating in the county fair increased from 283 in 2022 to 323 in 2024. Think what increasing the 4-H staff could do for the youth in Winona County. According to a 2023 article in newsgallup.com, teenagers in the U.S. spend an average of 4.8 hours on social media every day. What if we could just get one of those kids to spend 1 hour a month in 4-H? Dr. Seuss would say, oh, the places they could go. Please consider the CEC recommendation to increase the part-time 4-H extension educator position to full-time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else care to address the county board? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Don Evanson, 16233 Denzer Road, Minnesota City. Thank you all for your service to the county. I'm one of the majority of Americans that have at least some skepticism for the integrity of our elections. It would be good if we were all in that majority. Secretary of State Steve Simon isn't getting the job done using the ERIC system that he does, so there's volunteers assembled across the state working at that. There's several in Winona County. I have a list here of a packet of 17 deceased voters on the voter rolls in Winona County, and they should be removed because these are potential for abuse. If the decedents are mailed ballots, those ballots can be harvested as they are throughout the country, throughout the state, and used improperly, fraudulently. So we'd like to have this addressed, and the county attorney is charged with administering election affairs in the county, overseeing them, and maybe we'll get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else care to address the county board? Morning.
Morning, County Board. Jerry Bigelow, Winona, Minnesota, 84 Saratoga Court.
I was alerted that the board would be addressing the volunteer committee for the Veteran Service Office. And I was basically coming here to thank you, but I'm thanking you for getting it on the agenda. And I encourage you to please vote to get that done. There's a lot of things that we can channel as veterans to work with the VSO, and having, I believe, the county board involved with that would be something would benefit everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Anybody else care to address the county board?
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Heim, 1812 Pleasant View Lane, Winona. I was under the understanding that the cannabis industry would be mentioned here this morning or something. I just want to, I'm just here for that mainly. I just do want to reflect that the state of Minnesota is running behind, as everybody knows, and as usual. I want to make sure that the county is going to either just go with the state, not to hold it up any further than the state has held it up already. That's, I guess, what I'm looking at. I am in conversations with the city and putting a dispensary in, possibly a grow room, possibly a lounge, the whole, whatever. I'm in that process, and what I'm finding is that the government, as usual, is getting in my way. You can be open at a certain date, but they don't have the rules set forth. And then once they set their rules, then the city's got to decide what their rules are going to be, and then so on and so forth to the county. I do have a building in the county that's out away from residential, and that could possibly be a grow area. So I just want you guys to know that there is interest in the industry in this area, and that if, you know, any conversations need to be had, or I've done a lot of research. So if anybody wants to reach out, I'm available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While we're waiting for the next person, Heidi, if you can hear us, we lost the timer. Is there anybody else present who would like to address the county board, or anybody online that would like to speak? If so, just please unmute yourself. Thank you, Heidi. Is there anybody else present or at home that would like to address the county board? I'll ask one last time. Is there anyone present or online that would like to address the county board? With that, we'll close the public comment. The next item is item 3, to approve county board minutes from 2 different sets from August 27th.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Elsing, seconded by Commissioner Meyer. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The next item is a public hearing regarding the Winona County cannabis ordinance.
Is staff going to do a presentation before the public hearing or no? In that case, I'll wait to open the public hearing until after we've had the staff presentation, which is normally how the planning commission does it.
Hi, between Karen and us, and we, other than the ordinance itself, which is an interim ordinance that allows us to study the issue, we really don't have anything other than that for presentation. As you heard from the gentleman before us, there's still not been a lot of movement by the state on approving rules. So we don't have a lot to go on.
Okay, thank you.
Eric?
I'd just add that with Karen's documents, everything is in the packet, and we're asking for 2 things. One, the public use language, as well as the interim ordinance as far as the moratorium. Researching this, we have, I believe, at least half of the counties in the state have enacted these 2 ordinances at this time because they're still working on the final rules. Between if this is passed today, we'll be working on an actual ordinance. We'll be taking to the Planning Commission as a primer to start looking at, there's 9 different types of uses. We have to dissect the zoning districts, the type of uses, and what the permitting would look like. So by no means would it be banned in Winona County. This just gives us time to put together the toolkit to get this in front of the Planning Commission, the county board for authorization.
Thank you,
So,
Eric.
yep.
My question would be, because I think I know the answer, but really just a delay of a few months, which is all we can really do, because we can only do
Yeah.
it through the 31st of this year.
Mhm.
Is that really enough time for you to come back with all the, especially I'm thinking the rural zoning ordinances?
There'll be changes throughout the next year, I envision, just as we go forward. And there is demand. I think Maureen had shared with the county board and a few of the staff, just the interest on the preliminary applications, and there is a lot. The concern is over half of them are out-of-state applicants at this point for the preliminary, the social equity component. And now when they open it up to everybody else, there's going to be literally thousands of applications coming, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Eric, a question. We did ask about the opportunity the county would have to run a county-owned. And are you looking into that a little bit more?
I'd need some help with that.
Okay, because if we permit all these others, do we go to the back of the line or the front of the line, or how does that? And again, it's something that's being
Yeah.
talked about. I don't
Yeah.
have the details. I don't know if I support it, but I don't
It-
know.
From what I've seen with the proposed rules, it's a possibility. It's the same as the municipal liquor stores. It doesn't count against your density cap if that's something that they want to do in the future, is like 1 per 12,500. But you got we got a number of smaller cities, so there are, a lot of LGUs are going to have to decide or weigh in on this before we can actually field that question.
And the other issue that comes to mind, it seems like especially like we talk about our parks, county-owned land and everything. It seems to be all centered on, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, the smoking of this product. But there are other ways to consume it. So will our ordinance address a potluck,
It'll be the-
We're going to check every potluck to see what's in the brownies.
There'll be a
Seriously, I mean-
boilerplate to, as the rest of them have, and I think I would defer that to the county attorney's
I
office.
mean, again, and we went through this with the tobacco ordinances and everything and the regulations with tobacco and vaping and everything, but it has some alternative methods of consumption. So I don't know how we're going to address that.
That the board will want to, or maybe need to address
Okay,
what's consumed in public.
yeah, okay.
Commissioner Olson.
I was just going to make mention, maybe just introducing, because I see some new faces, new people online, just what your role is as to why you guys are speaking about this, just so people understand.
Okay, well, I'm Eric Johnson, zoning administrator, and I've been tasked with working on this process for this particular component. If this we'll move on. It's just not the county planning department. There's going to be a huge involvement with the county attorney's office, the county sheriff's department, the county auditor and treasurer. They got registrations. The assessors are going to have a component with this because there's actually formulas that they have to be able to figure out the land and the site, and it's a different tax classification that those folks that are engaged with this will be put in. So it's going to be a huge component across the board for all the county staff, so.
And just alluding to Mr. Himes' comment earlier, unfortunately, due diligence and due process has to take place so we don't create a mess and then it's even harder to clean it up later. And
Agreed.
we apologize that government's slow. I don't like it either, but we have to do what we have to do, so.
Thank you, Eric.
I would move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson to open the public hearing. Any discussion? All's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So at this time, if anyone would like to come forward and speak in regards to the temporary moratorium that would go through the end of correct me if I'm wrong, 2024.
Correct, January 1 of 2025, we have to be done. And I just want to add, as Eric had mentioned, there are two ordinances that are public hearings today, the public use or the use in public, or I'm sorry, county-owned places and the ordinance regulating businesses.
I think.
I'm hearing from Mr. Heim that he can't hear what we're saying. So
We all need to pull up.
Can you hear me now? Sorry. These don't really work. Okay, I'll speak to the crowd. There are two proposed ordinances that are being, that public hearing is on today. First is as Commissioner Ward mentioned, the use of cannabis in county-owned facilities, county-owned land, like the parks, like, trying to think of the, what's the
Farmers Park.
Thank you, Farmers Park comes to mind. And then the other one is the one that you're probably all here for more, is the regulating the business of selling of, as you said, having plants, things like that. So there are two ordinances. Be sure to be specific as to which one you're talking about when you give your remarks, okay? Thank you.
Commissioner Helsing.
Would the county fairground fall into that?
Separate.
It's not.
We don't know. The
Don't
county
own it.
doesn't. It's an
Yeah.
ag society.
I just was curious of how that.
Any other comments by the commissioners before we open it up? Otherwise, the public hearing, if you would like to address either of the ordinances, again, come forward, state your name, and I apologize, your address again, just for the record.
My name's still Gary Hyman. I still live at 1812 Pleasant View Lane. I do want to, I'm surprised I made this meeting. The first thing was the county having their own, I would really, after doing the research that I've done, I would really caution against it as a person of the county. There's just a lot of regulations and there's a lot of chance for failure. So that's that. The other part of this whole thing is it's the consumption, okay? Marcia or is Marcia okay? Commissioner Ward. There's many different ways to use it. There's, especially nowadays, I mean, they have oils, they have cookies, brownies, gummies, drink mix. There's just everything, okay? And I did talk to Carlos about the possibility of what's going to happen with the city. I assume the county and the city will, usually go kind of hand in hand, whatever. But the state has a license for a lounge. Okay, it's called a cannabis lounge. That may or may not be part of my process. I do have a facility that would potentially hold a lounge. What that consists of, as far as the state's concerned, is no smoking. There's basically, you can't smoke indoors no matter where you are. And so at the same time, you can smoke on private property. So if you're outdoors, you see even at bars have the little tents or whatever that are outside, people go out and smoke and drink out there. The same thing could apply to cannabis. So I guess what I urge you to do is talk with people that have done the research and talk with people that are interested in bettering Winona. My personal facility my intentions are, sorry for stuttering, but my intentions are to have a very nice facility right downtown, and it would draw people to town. There's just no doubt about that. But my main concern is the cookies and the brownies and all of these things, because if I had a coffee shop attached to my dispensary, then the lounge area, people could come in and get a cup of coffee and have a fresh baked cannabis cookie or whatever, you know? So I just want you to know that this is more than just selling and smoking pot. All right, this is a serious business adventure, and I hope that you'll all, you know, do the due diligence that's required, because boy, there's a lot of information out there. I visited several other dispensaries in several states to see, you know, it seems like everything is pretty much common amongst the states. You know, there's some fee, everything, it shouldn't take a whole, I know it's a lot for you guys to do, but it shouldn't take as much as people think to get this through. Because you can look at what everybody else, I mean, we're not the first state anymore, so you can see what others have done. So I guess that's all I got. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Because I believe we're the 23rd state, correct? So, yeah, there's
Yeah, we
plenty of
are.
other options to look at,
Mr.
to your point,
Yeah.
Ms. Simon.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to note, usually at public hearings, there's a 2-minute limit
Yeah,
on.
that is true.
Oh, I'm sorry, did
No,
I?
you're all good.
No,
I
there's
just-
no
don't-
timer,
you're- I-
but
That's
Just
on
making
me.
sure other people
Yeah.
get plenty of time to.
Heidi, if you can hear us, can you put the timer back up? That's all on me. You're completely okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Very good. Thank you, guys.
And just to correct me if I'm wrong with the full board, is today it's just a temporary moratorium and the use in county-owned lands. The heavy lifting will take place with the staff and the planning commission, so that's yet to come. So we're not going to hammer out any details today. We're looking at a temporary moratorium until what state law allows us until the end of 2024. So anybody else care to address the county board about the temporary cannabis moratorium?
Was that the 24, correct?
Yes, yep, December 31st, yep. I'll ask 2 more times. Anyone present or online care to address the county board about the temporary cannabis 2 ordinances and the use on county property? I'll ask one more time. Anyone care to address the county board? With that, we'll close the public hearing. The next item on the agenda is items
Well,
5.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Ward.
A couple questions. So I think, did we see?
Sorry, and we need a motion
you have to do
to,
a
thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Motion to close.
Well, I think we have more. Okay, motion by Commissioner Elsing, seconded by Commissioner Olson. Further discussion.
So I thought I saw somewhere in here a timeline, like when it's going to go to the planning, and am I correct? Did I see some with specific dates?
I believe I put that in there. We certainly did it for the commercial dog ordinance.
Commissioner Ward, it's on page 17.
17? I remember
of the
reading it
county board
somewhere.
packet.
Okay. And so again, to Mr. Himes' credit, yeah, government is not efficient. The state of Minnesota did us a total injustice by throwing this, they basically threw it up on the wall and saw what was going to stick and then lets us try to figure it out. I think we should start a bank so that we can process all the money that's going to go through this. You indicated that there's a lot of risk for failure and everything, but everybody tells me you can make a lot of money with it too. So maybe we need to start the Bank of Winona County and process your money and take a fee. But there is a timeline. It is a short timeline. So if we do something before the end of the year, then how often are we allowed to change it? Because I know there's parameters on how quick you can change a zoning ordinance and adapt and be flexible. So that's part of, if we're being rushed to figure something out, will we have opportunities to modify or change within a certain time frame?
Ms. Simon.
I would just say that's probably something that we would be studying as a staff, but also the state, the Office of Cannabis Management may supersede all this and, say, here's what you have to do. So I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
there's been a lot of comments, yes, about the state doing this and just kind of leaving it to the counties and the cities. And yeah, they don't even have a director yet. They still have an interim director, so.
Interim,
It-
yeah.
And the idea is
It's
that this doesn't rush the process. This slows the process down a little bit more.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Right, but we have to make some very important decisions in a short period of time. And again, how quick can we modify them? Of course, with a federal election, I'm hearing rumblings that it may be legal federally in the whole greater United States of America.
Say
So
that
then,
again? I'm sorry. What did you say, Commissioner Ward?
with a federal election,
Yes.
I'm hearing rumblings that this may be legal in the whole United States of America. So then that'll change the rules and
Again,
make
this,
up
right, federal, state, it all,
all,
yeah,
yeah.
can
yeah.
be, yeah,
We're on the bottom of the totem pole.
I wouldn't say that.
We are. Okay. All right. Thank
Any
you.
other discussion? Doug,
Hi, just to add a little bit of clarity.
to Commissioner Elson's point, just for the folks at home, could you
Okay.
state your name and time?
Sure, I'm Doug Cieslak, the Director, Planning and Environmental Services. And just a clarity on the motions and the ordinance that as you guys are going to vote on. The one is the interim ordinance that would be through the end of the year. That would be for us to develop zoning rules. The other one is on use, which is not part of our office. And that would be in place until such time that you would, modify that. That one, it wouldn't be temporary necessarily.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Thank you. Any other discussion, commissioners or staff? Then we'll vote to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So that closes the public hearing. Now we move on to items 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3.
Move to acknowledge the Whitewater Joint Powers Board, Board of Adjustment and Planning Commission. Meeting minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Ward, seconded by Commissioner Elsing. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, consent comments and approval of agenda. Commissioner Elsing.
Just a comment at the end.
Okay. Commissioner Ward.
I would like to pull 7.6 under department recommend. Well, it isn't on consent, so each one will be approved separately. It's department recommendations.
It's under
It is
consent.
still under consent.
Yeah.
Okay, then I
All
want,
seven, all
okay.
of 7 is consent.
Gotcha. So I want to pull 7.6 for a separate vote, please, and then a comment at the end, please.
So we'll make 7.6, 8.3.
That's fine, yes.
Commissioner Olson. Nothing for me. Commissioner Meyer.
I have a committee report and maybe a board action.
Ms. Holte,
Nothing.
Ms. Sonneman.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay.
Sit your honor again. Mr. Chair.
I would move to approve the agenda as it was modified.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Could you, Ms. Holte, read the consent comments into the record?
Yes. 7.1, approve conditional use permit for David and Nancy Unruh. 7.2, approve renewal of Veteran Services Office Operational Enhancement Grant Program Agreement. 7.3, approve LG 220 gambling application for exempt permit, Bluff Country Chapter of Minnesota Deer Hunters Association. 7.4, accept certificate of performance and authorize final payment for CASA 1 resurfacing project. 7.5, approve agreement with CPKC Railroad for crossing surface replacement of CASA 29 in Lewiston. 7.6 was pulled. 7.7, confirm payment of disbursements.
Thank you.
I would move to approve the consent business as it was read.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Elsing. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. That takes us down to item 8, department recommendations. 8.1, discuss / modify / approve the housing trust fund ordinance. Who will lead us on?
Oh, no, I was going to move to approve the resolution to create the housing trust fund.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the housing trust fund ordinance. Any further discussion? Commissioner Ward.
Yes, let me find it here. Ms. Baronic, you're in the audience.
92, page 92.
I know,
Oh, I
I'm
know.
getting there.
You can't select the page. You have
No,
to-
I can't. I gotta.
You have
find through
to
along.
scroll.
One of the things about the Housing Trust Fund, the language, 8.1, and that is on page,
Wait, I think there's only 7.
oh, then what did I have?
Can't be 8.
There's a word in there that I find problematic. and maybe somebody can help me find it. It says, permanent endowment. And nothing's permanent. And I don't like the idea that it's a permanent endowment. That it, as I understood, the county board is in control of it. And that if we don't have funding, we don't have to put funding in it. But by saying permanent, it just, never goes away. And your organization, which I'm on the board, wants some money to manage this thing. So again, there's a thing, but it said, I don't know why I have written down 8.1. If it was a different document, but it says permanent endowment. So can we eliminate?
It's on the very first line.
Oh, yeah,
Under one.
it's one. It's just.
The trust
just
fund
one.
shall be a permanent
Right.
endowment and continue
Yeah,
to
it's
be a
this-
renewable source
yeah.
of revenue.
So why would we say it's a permanent endowment?
Josh, where exactly? I'm sorry, Commissioner.
So
Go to page 93.
Yeah,
Yeah,
93.
looking at
Line
it.
item one,
One,
third, fourth sentence in the paragraph.
yeah. The trust fund shall be permanent endowment, continually renewable source of revenue to meet in part the housing needs.
Is it,
So is that boilerplate language that came from somebody else's thing, or?
That is in Dodge County's and Goodhue County's ordinance as well. So
Okay.
I don't have an issue with changing the word permanent. I would have to defer to Attorney Sonneman on that.
It's also mentioned on page 96 of your packet under, it would be page 4 of the ordinance, and it's C. I'm trying to find the number 4, trust fund distributions.
yeah,
That if there's such a low amount in there, no disbursements would be made. So, I mean, there's language in there that controls how that endowment fund would work. And again, the board, in enacting this ordinance, also has the power to deactivate it, if you want to call it that. But I would advise that you keep that in there, because that goes to the fact that it's established as a fund, and it's a type of, well, trust fund has a connotation that's very, very important in terms of a legal definition, as opposed to like investment fund. So,
Okay, is there any language in here then that, because things never go away in government. We never get rid of anything. It just always sits there and it's always looming there. And that's why government keeps growing, in my opinion. So is there language in here to dissolve the permanent trust fund? Other than us not funding it, but I mean, is there a definitive, you say you want it in there to maintain its status, but is there a definitive action to, eliminate the trust fund at some point in time?
valid question.
Ms. Sonneman, wouldn't that go in alignment with if they no longer decide to have the ordinance?
that's what I was saying, that the ordinance, you could, and I probably used the wrong wording, but you could terminate the ordinance, or, make a decision to, that the ordinance is no longer effective. I mean, there's plenty of ordinances if you want to start looking through some of the
could do some
county
housekeeping.
ordinances. Yeah. I mean, I came across some when I was looking up others, and, something from, well, speaking of civil defense, I have my duck and cover thing from the missile site in South Dakota. But there's some, civil defense ordinances that are out of date. So you could, as a body, make a decision that this ordinance is no longer in effect, and shut down the trust fund.
And would that be a 3-2 vote? It's an ordinance.
Good question.
Just gotta have my
You
ducks in a
bring
row.
up some very good questions, Commissioner Warren. I appreciate that. You're always challenging me. You're challenging my, yes, and these are things that I really need to study. I guess at this point, I would say the trust fund shall be in the form of an endowment instead of permanent, okay? Is that okay?
Okay, all right, that,
Okay.
I can live with that better. I mean, I don't like anything
Is that
that's
good for you?
permanent.
Do you like to
That's
make a motion?
fine. Yep.
or-
I think.
We need to amend.
Finished.
We need to amend the
paragraph 1.
Paragraph 1, line 4,
Yeah.
Page,
93.
So if Commissioner Ward wants to make a motion to change the language, I would accept that as a
and
friendly amendment.
what was the word, Attorney Sonneman?
Shall be in the form of an endowment. So take out shall be, or take out a permanent and put in the form.
Form of an endowment. Okay, yes. I can live with
And
better.
anywhere else.
If that
permanent's
is
in there.
effect, right. Yeah, take out the word permanent wherever you might find it. I don't.
So
think
that was a motion for a friendly amendment,
Right.
and both
You
of
accept.
the original movers have to accept it. Commissioner Meyer, you're okay. Commissioner Elsing, was it?
That was-
It was Olson.
Olson, were you okay?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay,
And
That motion needs a second though, right?
that was an,
amendment,
To amend it.
friendly amendment.
Amendment to that, yeah, and I'll second that.
Great.
and then Commissioner Elsing, you had some questions?
No, actually, that was my question. My question was, is we really don't need the word permanent in there. So that was, just justifying the word. And so we solved that problem. So
Buffy, do you want to say anything else, or should we just continue the
We
discussion?
can continue discussion.
Any other discussion or questions?
Well, and it's always, and I know you've got a number of definitions in here, and every time I read about housing, there's definitions. So the definition of affordability will be a fluid definition. It will change over time, because it does tie it to certain financial
Correct.
incomes and everything.
Percentages.
Yeah, percentages and such. So that may change in the future also, right? And again, it can be amended because it's always changing.
Correct.
Any other discussion or questions for Ms. Baranik? Let's call the question then. So the motion on the table is to approve it with the friendly amendment to replace the language.
Do we vote on the amendment separately?
I understand.
I think,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay?
Yeah.
All those in favor of the friendly amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Then let's go to the original motion with the addition of the friendly amendment.
correct.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Brandon.
Wonderful.
Commissioner
Thank
Ward.
you.
I do have a question, reading in the newspaper, the city of Winona has not, and you don't represent the city of Winona, but I know, have they reached out to us at all from a SEMSHRA standpoint? Has the city of Winona reached out at all to SEMSHRA to help them with this concept?
Not at this point.
Okay, all right. Because I know they aren't taking action on it right now.
Correct.
Kind of table. Okay, thank you. If they do reach out, put your consultant hat on and keep track of your time.
I certainly will. Thank you.
It's available.
Thank you. Next is item 8.2, discuss, modify, approve resolution establishing the Veteran Service Advisory Committee. Anyone, this is something that came before us over a year ago. Anyone, I guess there's no additional, Ms. Holte, the language was in the packet, right? So we could probably move on, if someone's willing.
Well, do you want a motion first and then discussion? I would move to approve the Veteran Service Advisory Committee.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ward, seconded by Commissioner Elsing. Do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I think there was a question if there was going to be per diems allowed. We would need to, do we need to put that in our,
Posting, off schedule.
well, it's a mission statement, or do we just put it in when we put for applications, or do we need as a board to approve a per diem for this particular committee?
Ms. Holte.
Yes. So what I would recommend is in the resolution that we have contained in here before it's signed off, that we would add that a per diem would be paid per policy.
Okay, all right, because again, yes, I think that's, we need to treat all our committees fairly. And it is specific, we do have a membership, there would be, what was it, 5? Veteran Service Officer, County Administrator, and up to 2 county boards, and 3 to 5 members. So we've got to diversify. I know Jerry Obigalo is very up on this, and will do some recruiting for us. And then I just wanted Jerry and the veterans to realize that we did approve applying for an additional grant. That was item 7.2, operational enhancement grant. That we approved, and that's just making application for that grant. We haven't received it yet, but it's allowing the Veteran Service to gather more dollars to do more community work.
The Commissioner Ward's point, doesn't the per diem already exist in the resolution?
That was my question, yeah.
And
It is on page 102, the very last resolved, talks about the per diem.
Yep, so it's there already. Okay.
Yeah, and my question was, based on Commissioner Ward's question, does it have to be changed or is it sufficient the way it is?
No, if you.
Okay,
approve
because it
as
came through in
is.
an email or something, wasn't it, question that we had to put it in the budget or something? There was somewhere triggered that we needed to address it.
That's
It's a
for budget.
it'd be a
Okay.
very small amount.
Yeah, it'd be a very small amount.
Virtually nothing.
Well, they meet twice and it's probably 50, 25
Yeah,
bucks.
it's-
That's what I'm saying.
It's a
It's
small
very
amount.
little, very little. So.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution as is, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So the next step in the process is Mr. Anderson will post it online. Thank you, everybody.
Actually, our office will do it through UKG,
Gotcha.
our
Wonderful.
normal application for
Well, Mr. Kregler,
volunteer committees.
thank you. All right. Item which was formerly 7.6 now became 8.3, approve amended LELS 61 labor agreement, 2024 wage grid. Commissioner Ward.
Yeah, I just, again, my stance is there is no mention or concept of pay for performance in this labor agreement, and I firmly believe it's something we need to look at, consider. I will not support the agreement.
Motion to approve?
Oh, second?
Motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Meyer. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
Motion carries 4-1. That is the end of the general business, correct? So I'll move on then to consent comments. Commissioner Elsing. You want
Committee reports?
Did you have
Yeah.
something?
Commissioner, consent comments? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Committee reports and comments.
Jump over me for a
Yep,
second.
we'll come back to you. Commissioner Ward.
I just want to remind everybody to remember 9/11. There was a 60 Minutes report, and it's hard to believe that it's been 23 years ago tomorrow that we had the Twin Towers taken down in New York City. I distinctly remember where I was that day, as many citizens do. But as Commissioner Vagley, as a high school teacher, I don't know if they even talk about 9/11
I do.
in the high school. It's part of our history. And a lot of times our recent history isn't spoken about. And I think it's so critical for people to remember all the lives we lost and the tragedy it was to our whole country. And just take a moment to remember those people.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yep, thanks. Would you pass these out? So the Winona, Mississippi La Crescent, one watershed, one plan group met, the policy committee met yesterday. We had a number of great presentations, but the one I'm sharing with you is the one that was given to us by the Soil and Water District. And it highlights projects, first some construction projects to create retention ponds. So I want to share it with all of you. So it talks about how the WINLAC, the money from the legacy was spent, but then what the private contributions were and the other work that got done. And in the diagrams, they also show the amount of nitrogen and the amount of phosphorus that's saved from going into various streams and rivers, water bodies in the county. They also talked about cover crops and how they had an overwhelming number of responses, and the amount of applications for cover crops was like triple what it had been in past years. I thought it was a great presentation and really highlighted. I think that it would be good if we asked them to come and had Amanda give that presentation. And Jim, is that the technician's name? Yeah. Come and it was a 20-minute presentation, so it wouldn't take a lot of time, but it was actually pretty impactful. So if any other commissioners are interested, that would be the request for board action. But I did want to share it with you.
Would support. Ask them to maybe shorten it up a little bit too.
So you could probably do it in 15, I think.
Executive summary.
15 to.
So that was a request by Commissioner Myers to Commissioner Olson, so that will be on a future agenda to have it decided upon, not to have it, we need to
Right.
vote on it later.
That's right.
Is that it, Commissioner Myers?
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Elsing?
No, I was just gonna kind of say my piece about the 4-H. I was a 4-H kid. I can't think of anything better than a 4-H program for kids. It is just phenomenal. It's phenomenal to see what's happening, the attendance going up. We even see, urban kids getting involved with farmers in the country and raising animals and driving out and feeding animals, and just the participation that I'd like to see these buildings filled back up. So we have the opportunity. There's a phenomenal person that is a halftime coordinator for us right now. And I just, again, I reiterate, I can't find a better program, I think, for kids out there right now, that's funded partially funded through taxpayer dollars. So I just wanted to give my pitch for the 4-H department or 4-H organization.
We'll discuss it later during the work session, but short version is I agree with you. Anything else from? I want to mention a couple things. Last night, I went to the Goodview City Council meeting. It was interesting listening to them. They were going through their budget process as well in terms of for the next year, et cetera. But I also wanted to bring up, I'm going to switch gears to talking about the local option sales tax, the referendum on November 5th. We've talked all generally about the need to go out and not advocate, but inform about the issue. And now we're getting down to crunch time. Less than 2 months away until November 5th. I've been talking with a few folks, and I wanted to let people know who I've been reaching out to and invite we can't have more than 2 commissioners there, but I spoke with the folks at Goodview, and I'll be talking to them. I told them I can try to do it in 5 minutes, 10 at tops, et cetera. And of course, if they have questions. On September 23rd, I'll be at the Goodview City Council meeting. If somebody else wants to join me, no one needs to, but if you would like to. I've also reached out to the mayors of a couple other I'm starting to reach out to them. So tentatively looking at Rolling Stone on October 7th. At 6:30. I talked with Commissioner, briefly before the meeting started, with Commissioner Elsing about if that might work for him to have that discussion with them. And then there's a discussion with the Chamber of Commerce, the Eggs and Issues, 7:30 meetings about a presentation that Commissioner Meyer was working on as well.
7:30 a.m.
7:30 a.m. Thank you, a.m.
When is that? Is there a date?
October 4th. And so what I had told Ms. Ransom is that the county attorney and the sheriff and the county board chair would be on a panel.
That's 7:30 a.m. at the chamber. That's their Eggs and Issues. If other people have other ideas for ways, like we talked about real briefly about the township officers, but that's not till mid-October, right?
The township officers is nice, especially for us rural, because there's just so many meetings to try to attend, and you can hit one here or there, but there's always a conflict. So really that's our public sounding board where I attend every one of those.
Josh and I can cover that one.
And we've got that covered already. Altura, St. Charles, Elba, Rolling Stone to be the 4 municipalities. The biggest thing that I was kind of waiting for was to get universal language where we're all on the same page. We paid for this. This is what we needed. I think Commissioner Ward and I were pretty vocal as some things getting changed on there. We saw the potential for confusion. At least I saw the potential for confusion not using the word jail. How people reference it, slang, whatever you want to say, we need to make sure that they understood that. So I think, this is going to be good to be able to hand out if we maybe potentially even get some more copies of those. And now I think we have the opportunity to present it to at least the 4 cities I'm involved with. The majority, I have a little sliver of good view, but in Minnesota City, so actually 5 if we throw in Elba. So, yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think we need to do that. We have a common piece of literature now, and we're all on the same page.
And what I told folks, I just beginning to reach out that I don't have anything yet, but it was coming soon. So now we have that. And Commissioner Elsing, just want to clarify, in terms of the language that we use, did you want to use the word jail or not use the word?
I did. I believe the confusion that I saw was that people would think this was about a potential for a new LEC center, and they're combining in their head what this is about. So we really needed to find out. Almost kind of got a little bit of an argument while we were in that room. I was pretty strong-willed, and when it's time to push, I'll push. But that we really needed to, people associate this as the jail.
I agree.
And we needed to change that terminology. So I made a case very, very hard for it a few weeks ago when we had that meeting, and I'm happy to see that it changed.
I actually said the same thing in the session.
Gotta be, our language has to be jail because that's what's been built. People
Yeah,
confuse.
that's what people associate it as.
Right, and with the articles about the joint listen, you know, whatever you want to call it, police
Yeah.
and sheriff, it's confusing to
Yep.
people that don't follow it.
Just want to mention, I think, Ms. Holte, you probably have it. There was a one pager too that would be real
The
helpful.
fact sheet,
Yeah, the
so
fact
there's an
sheet.
amended one coming,
Okay.
and that's what I'm
Yeah.
waiting for, because
Okay.
the QR code doesn't work on the one they
Oh,
sent.
great, okay, but
So
yeah,
as
that's
soon
an
as I
easy
have
one to
that, I'll make
pass out.
copies and get
Yeah.
them out to you folks for handing out.
It's all in one.
Oh, QR code, what's that? You have to have a smartphone to use those things?
Hey, can I just say?
Already one of mine.
I was up at Ferguson's Orchard this weekend without kids, because they're in their 30s, right?
Yeah?
You need a QR code to get in there to get a ticket now.
Oh, geez, I
At the
mean,
Orchard. I mean, like, what? So,
And the other missing piece that we don't have
the university study of
tax study.
tax.
To see what percent might come from out of county, out of, Ms. Holte.
We have a meeting tomorrow with
Awesome.
the gentleman who's performing that.
Perfect.
And so within the next week or so, we should have our,
Perfect.
our survey.
great.
That's important to know.
Yeah.
That's very important. Good. All right, anything else?
Well, I do have a little bit of an issue with the page, there's no page numbers on here that we need to explain. It says if approved, if rejected. If rejected, only homeowners and commercial property owners will continue paying for the newly built jail using collecting and their property tax. But we have to be clear, property tax affects everybody. If you rent, you pay property taxes indirectly, because if your rent goes up, your landlord, tax. It's a fine line and such, but actually, everybody is affected by property taxes. So it's just, if somebody asks, I think that's important to know that, yeah. Nobody lives on in this green area free.
But there's a lot of
don't
people
make-
that don't understand
they
that.
don't understand
They just
property
assume rent
taxes.
is rent and
Yeah.
I'm not affected by this. And
So
They
that's a
are.
good point. And maybe it should say only county homeowners, renters, and commercial property owners.
Well,
But
the
in
thing
our,
is that we, the county, don't issue the tax to the renters.
right. yeah.
It's a
We
domino
could put in
effect,
there indirectly.
Right.
Right.
but I'm just saying, we, the county, don't actually
Yes,
assess a tax.
It's everybody.
it is everybody.
Anything else? Then we would entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Elsing, seconded by Commissioner Olson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we'll take a short break
Please.
between this and the budget working session.